What's going on, Coco? We're on for episode number 5. And we've got a fresh face in, someone that's probably not too familiar with everyone in the community, but I'm really excited to chat to him, so I'm going to bring him straight on because we have a heap to pump through tonight. DJ, how are you, brother?
Hey, good. How are you? How's everyone?
Great. I'm great. It's good to see you on here because we're going to be talking a bit of Pokemon, as people have probably noticed with the thumbnail this week. And it's not something that within our community gets talked about a lot. We're all aware of it. There's resellers that I know that do a bit of this stuff, but look, it's not something that gets talked about a lot. So ready to fire a few questions into you and see how we go. So Brad from Two Aussie Thrifters has dropped your link in there. So it's also in the description. If you are watching back, make sure and go over and give this man a sub because you can learn a lot, not just investing, flipping, all sorts of Pokemon stuff. He's nearly at 800 subs too. So if you can swing over there and give him a sub, get him over 800 tonight, we'll do our best.
Thanks, guys. You don't have to, but so.
Do it. Get over and give him a sub. Yeah. So, I want to get straight into it, mate. I want to learn a little bit about you first. Before we start actually talking about the cards, I'd love to learn a little bit about you. So how about a quick introduction and tell the chat exactly who is DJ?
Yeah, so I'm DJ. I'm 30. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. There's not many Pokemon YouTubers in Australia, Melbourne, so obviously it's a little bit – I'm by myself a little bit. But I've been doing it since last year. About a year and a half YouTube for Pokemon. Started off just unboxing and stuff like that. The very common thing that, was Pokemon back in the day where people just open up packs and they just show what's up. And then I started moving on to buying and holding and investing and holding onto products. And then I've done some sales myself, but I'd classify myself more of a collector than anything. That's where I started off. And then it's the same with a lot of other people as well. They started collecting. They just bought the stuff that they liked. And then all of a sudden, the cards started booming again, just like it was in the 90s. And the values were going up and people were selling them for double, triple, and all that. And then it just snowballed from there for me as well. Most of my videos are all about informational, about Pokemon, about investing in, like you said, flipping and even scalping a little bit as well. But I started a year and a half ago. I collected when I was a kid, just like many others, and then, kind of got lost and then came back maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So I think definitely if you were to go into Pokemon and flip and sell and stuff, I think a lot of it has to do with just being in the hobby, being engaged in it, to do it really well. But that's not to say that somebody can't just come in today and start doing it if they know a little bit about it. So but yeah, that's a little bit about me. I've kind of enjoyed YouTube a lot. I do it mainly for fun, so I'm not really looking to of course everyone loves to grow on YouTube and stuff, but I like Pokemon. I like what I do, so I'll do it for free. I'm happy to join here as well. This is really, really cool of you to ask me to come here. I love to share and talk and stuff. So yeah, thanks for having me on as well. So
I appreciate you coming on, mate, because this is definitely something I've been looking into myself, and that's not just from a personal side of view as a reseller. I have different collections throughout my house, everywhere, of many different things. I collected Pokemon as a kid too. I used to love it when I was a child. My mum gave most of mine to the op shop. So someone like me probably would have picked them up and unsold them or whatever. But before we get fully into it, I've got a funny story, and you're going to appreciate this one because just recently my parents have been renovating their bathroom, and we were around there for dinner, and my dad gave my son, who's 2 years old, this Pokemon card. And he said he found it behind the skirting board when he's ripped it off. and my young bloke likes his Pokemon cards. I buy them for him. So what I do with his cards, and I'll get your opinion on this, I'll buy just whatever packs I can get at Kmart. He's 2, so they're going to get damaged. I take the hollows out and give him the rest, and I put them in the cupboard. So if they sit in the cupboard for 30 years, I hope maybe it'll have the same effect, and they might be worth something when he's my age. But anyway, Dad's pulled out this Pokemon card from the skirting board, and it was a base set 99 hollow Gyarados sitting behind the skirting board, still in good condition. So there you go.
Wow.
I didn't quite lose all my Pokemon cards. There was one still sitting there. So we'll go back to you. You said you were into the game young, and then you didn't get back until about 3 years ago. What drew you back to collecting again?
Well, actually, there was a big Pokemon boom in 2016. There was Pokemon Go that just came out, and a lot of people were coming back in at that time. They also released a set called Evolutions, which was a set that was kind of dropped out, I think.
You all good?
Computer did something. Can you still see me or not?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
You can hear me, but you can't see me.
I can see and hear you.
Oh, I can't see you.
Yeah.
Hold on. Yeah, sorry, computer. So I was saying Evolution was kind of like a base set reprint. So it had the artworks of the original set. So a lot of people, that drew me back in, but also drew a lot of people in. But yeah, I just remembered, like you said, like when I was growing up, not having cards or having cards, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll buy some. I'll see what they look like now, and yeah, and then I just didn't stop. I just kept going, and yeah, I think it drew a lot of people in. Like when they release stuff like that, like Pokemon Go, people are still playing Pokemon Go. I never played, to be honest, but yeah, like I got a lot of on my Facebook sponsors and just links showing this and that, and then I'd be like, oh, what's this? And I clicked it, and then it's like Pokemon. I'm like, oh, I remember that, and then it just snowballed from there.
Yeah. It's a massive market. I actually put out a video of things that I sold last week, and one thing that I've actually been doing is picking up the figures that they sell in Kmart and Target and stuff like that. They're $10 each, and I put 2 or 3. So basically, I put the base 3 Pokemon together, which is Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, and put those guys together, and I can turn an initial investment of $30 usually into $60 to $80 every week. So I've been enjoying doing that. The Pokemon cards as such, I've been purchasing them. But yeah, so much for flipping. I haven't really done it. I'm going to do a quick hello to the chat because we've got a few in there. Excited to see DJ in here. So Charlie's in. Charlie's another reseller. She's just been doing a daily vlog, so it's very interesting. Good to watch from the mama's point of view. How do you get Pikachu on a train? Pokemon. Captain Hop Shop Nerds in the house. Toby actually does get into the Pokemon cards. I know him and his young bloke played a bit. Zach, we're flipping good stuff. Zach is the king of the curbside hustle. Pokemon is such an interesting topic. People go nuts. Absolutely.
They do. Yeah, they do go nuts. Go crazy.
Bought a pack today and pulled a Holo V.
Oh, cool. Not bad. That's good.
Modern Vintage Vogues in the house. Recommerce Dave. We've just had a jump. I'm going to go straight to the bottom. I've got Melbourne Treasure Hunters. Leanne, all the way from Ireland. And
wow, you know everyone.
Yeah, the reselling community is a good one. We communicate with Europe, the US. It's good. A lot of people know each other throughout it. So yeah, it's good. So back on you. Are you a single bloke, or do you have a missus? Or
yeah, I'm married. My daughter's asleep in the other room, and yeah, she's like 11 months. So small family, still growing. Yeah, not a 2-year-old like you or anything like that, but yeah, hoping for more and all that. I've got a dog as well. He's really cool. Samoyed dog, kind of like a wolf-like. Yeah. And I pretty much work 6 days a week. And it's like, and then YouTube, and you know how it is, the grind.
Yeah,
you know,
the grind, absolutely. So does your partner, does she get into the craziness of Pokemon, or does she just look at you and go, I don't want to borrow this?
Yeah, she it's actually very common. A lot of the guys that I know, they're a similar age of like me, and the wives are a little bit like that with that, because you're spending so much on certain cards, and you just don't really know, unless, even with all the research you do and stuff, sometimes it's all risk, at the end of the day. Because what I do is I like to hold stuff. I like to, I don't really flip as much, like you said, but yeah, a lot of the holding, is just having that money sitting there. It's like, what are you doing with it, kind of thing. So yeah, my wife's pretty supportive, as long as I stick to a budget of some sort, and which I tend to do. And yeah, as long as she gets most of the money that I get, so then we're all good. We're all sweet.
Absolutely. So your little one, do you think about her most of the time when you're investing? Does a lot of stuff get put away for 20, 30 years time?
Yeah. Actually, yeah, one of my first videos was like, I wasn't going to sell anything at all. I was just going to hold on to everything, and then I'm just going to leave it for her, or for, the other kids that might pop up. But yeah, I do plan for that. Like, a lot of the stuff I would probably have trouble selling because I'm attached to certain products. And that could be an issue with the collectible for Pokemon. If you are like a huge fan of it, and like selling it would be a bit of a struggle, which, sometimes I struggle with as well. But then there's things that I would buy specifically that I would like have no trouble selling. I wouldn't mind selling. I try to spend within my means, so like I wouldn't have to sell anything that I bought in that sense. So then I can leave stuff for the future and for the little ones and stuff. That's the reason why. A lot of the reason why I buy a lot of the vintage kind of cards that hold value and stuff. So
yeah.
When
you talk about the vintage cards, they're the ones that are kind of booming at the minute, the original sort of sets and everything. Do you still see room for the market to move up in that stuff? Is that still progressively going up, or is there going to be some sort of crash at some point?
Well, I don't think there'll be a crash. Simply because of the rarity and the scarcity of some of these things. Like, some of the cards that are gone up, they've gone up for certain reasons. Like, you can't find them anymore, or there's only 2 in the world, or they got a low pop report population. But like, I don't see a price drop, but I could see a slowing down. Like, they grew really fast, real quick in 2020 during this Corona period. Like, Pokemon's been just going off the charts. Things were doubling in price, tripling in price. And like you said, there's a lot of people that kind of think, oh, maybe we're in a bubble. Maybe it's just gonna, explode soon, and just, but I think for the vintage stuff, they're more safe than anything else when it comes to Pokemon. Room to grow. I think there's always room to grow, but how fast is it going to be? I don't think it's going to be as fast as it's been in the last couple of months. There's a lot of cards that, like I said, tripled in value. I don't think that's just going to keep tripling and tripling and tripling. Like, eventually it's going to slow when the market kind of corrects itself. But, for me, I wouldn't buy anything vintage to invest in. Like, a lot of the vintage stuff I've invested in is because that's for me. It's like a collectible. Like, I collected it. So, and at the same time, because that card is kind of sought after and it's valuable and there's a bit of a demand for it, the value does go up. But if it didn't go up, for me personally, I wouldn't care about it, because I bought it for me. I bought it because I liked it. And I guess that's where the conflicting mindset is with the whole investing and the collecting, because when you're a collector, it's like, values and money and stuff, it's like, well, you know, everyone's got a price. It's just like, well, I'm willing to pay that price for a certain product, and I'm happy to do that. But if I switch on my like investor hat or my flipping hat, then I probably wouldn't. You know, I'd probably focus on more of the modern stuff, which a lot of people are doing. And I think, you know, if you want to flip and if you wanted to just resell a lot, I think modern is so much easier to do that. And I guess in a way, it's a little bit safer and quicker as well. So I know plenty of people who do that and just make a ton of, like, if they got the capital to start off with and they know what to buy, they know what products to buy, then they can really double, triple their money real quick. So that's what I would be doing if I was purely just, you know, looking into that kind of game. But like I said, the collector is, you know, does that to me.
I know that feeling, not from the cards as such. Well, some cards as well, not Pokemon cards, but just other things in general. I'm exactly the same mindset. So we have got a couple of questions in the chat. Just catch up. A couple of people come in. We got Logo, Princeps, Nostalgic Nolan from Instagram. Scotty's in. Scotty is a big card nut. He's a lot in the sports cards and stuff as well. So he has got some good card knowledge. Rack Raiders are in the house. What's going on, guys? No crash for base sets.
Yeah. Question, did you? I didn't see that last question. Something, but
do you collect other Pokemon items or just the cards?
I just do the cards mainly. I did have a Pokemon toy that I wasn't really into. It was quite a valuable one as well. But I had trouble selling that, to be honest. Like, it was hard to sell. But like, that's not really my kind of area. So maybe you, like you were saying, you sold 3 toys like that. So maybe if I gave you the toy, you would have sold it really quick. So
I suppose it depends on what it is. But like you said, there's been a spike from COVID, and I found that as a flipper and also as a collector, COVID has been amazing for people like us that do flip products, because a lot of people have been sitting at home with government money and they're getting into collecting, whether it be Pokemon cards, NBA cards, footy cards, or something completely different. Collecting markets have just boosted everywhere, which is, you did drop on that, and that has helped boost the Pokemon card market. Is it at sort of a bit of a low point now, with especially Australia opening back up? Has it crashed a little bit? Has there been a bit of a decline in pricing, or?
I actually predicted that there would be a drop early on, and I was totally off. And I think, you know, Australia opening up, people already, it kind of like I said, it kind of brought people back. And now that they're opening up, like the stores are opening up, people are actually going out to the shops and buying it, like, instead of doing online and stuff. So I don't think it's dropping. And I don't predict it to drop. There's a lot of big influencers right now in Pokemon that are just hyping it up even more and just like really making it even stronger, that, you know, I don't really see the slowing down. I don't know if you heard about this, like Logic, a rapper. He's a famous rapper. He bought like a Charizard for like 200,000 recently.
I did hear that, yes.
Yeah, and there's like Logan Paul, big YouTuber, you know, he spent like a whole fortune on Pokemon stuff, and it's just spreading. Like, the awareness is crazy right now, like with social media and stuff. I think it's just even stronger than it was in the 90s. Like, the awareness is just so strong. Like with places opening up, I think, obviously I'm happy for that, but I don't see that the market's going to go back to what it was couple months ago, which I wish it would, because then I'd just buy everything. And that would be the same for a lot of other people. If prices dropped right now, so many of us would just be like, all right, let's just buy this because it's all cheap. But I don't see that's going to happen. No.
When you mentioned sort of the notable YouTubers and that talking about the cards, that was actually going to be a question that I did have, because I've noticed the same thing. I heard about that. Logan Paul, another one, Gary V, who a lot of our community is familiar with because he did a lot of videos on what we do. So a lot of people kind of follow him. And I know from watching some of his videos, he's kind of more so pumped the sports cards, but he did talk about Pokemon and he's had people on there. I know that Poker Revs, he's quite a big channel within your community. And I know he got him on and, they had a chat about it. So I personally feel like that's had an effect on cards because I do a lot of sports cards myself, mostly Australian rules, which is only a market for us typically in Australia, whereas other cards is without the world. So, but it's even had a boost on that, the COVID effect. I think the YouTube effect as well has actually pushed that market too, because I've seen the prices go nuts. And why I asked the previous question on a bit of a drop, and if you get them, because at the moment, the AFL card market's not as much as normal, but in a bit of a drop. So now, for me, it's a perfect time to buy. I'm poaching cards, on eBay at the moment, on Facebook for the build-up for next year. And something I like to do when it comes to sport, I'll basically invest, but it's a short-term investment. I'll pick up players that I think are going to be good. I'll try and get certain cards of them, or cards of players that were maybe injured this season just gone on. And I think they're going to have an impressive season upcoming. So then their prices will boost again. The negatives in sports cards is I could buy a whole heap of cards of the one player and he could break his leg and be out for 2 years. Simple as that. And the value is gone. Pokemon doesn't really have that. Is there an influence in the cards? Does it relate to the show? Does it relate to the games that are coming out? I mean, if they release a new game, I know they've got on the Switch the Pikachu, and which is obviously one of the bigger ones, and Eevee. Does that mean them cards boost because they've been released?
Yes and no. I think a lot of the people that are buying right now, or buying the majority of the market, are people like my age, people who are older. So they are going after the cards that they remind them of their childhood, nostalgia and stuff. So the Pokemon that they like the best. So Charizard's obviously is meant to be the number one Pokemon to collect and invest in, and because it's the number one Pokemon that everybody remembers and wants. That was meant to be the holy grail, the best card in the 90s when you were a kid. If you had that, you were like a god kind of thing. So, I mean, so if they put a Charizard in a new set right now, that's just going to be so popular straight away, even if it's just a standard Charizard. So people do chase, I guess, like you said, with sports, you go after the big guys, the guys that are popular and, who are really good. And that's kind of the same with Pokemon, but everyone's got a bit of a taste for who their favorite is. Like my favorite Pokemon is Primate, but nobody knows who he is. So and that's just my taste. So I would buy a Primate card, but there's 800, 900 different Pokemon right now. So there's just so many options, and they're not real people, like you said. So they'll never get injured, or they'll never have that kind of issue. There are, with the games and stuff, they sometimes promote certain Pokemon, like they put certain Pokemon in the game. But I think for the most part, a lot of us know who we like and who we don't like, what Pokemon sells. If you go on Google, you can just type in most popular, like they got a ranking of like most searched up Pokemon and stuff. So Charizard's up there, Pikachu. Those kind of cards tend to do really well in value. I do collect NBA cards as well, or I've done some sales for NBA. So that's the only sports thing that I have. And I guess with sports, with NBA, I focus on the guys who are already done and dusted. I don't really do any of the new players, but I guess rookie cards, I don't know if they do rookie cards for AFL or anything like that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
they do. Yeah. So yeah, they tend to do pretty well, the rookie cards. I know sports is not really hugely my thing, but NBA is like my favorite sport. So that's the reason why, like, I got Michael Jordans and Kobe's, and they're already proven. So they can't get injured now, and totally different story. But yeah,
safe as houses, absolutely. We were talking Charizard, so Toby has a question here. Thoughts on the Charizard Champions Path Elite Trainer Box? Hold for ages?
You mean this thing? Hold for ages. it's already doubled in value since it came out, which is like 2 months ago or something. Like when I pre-ordered that box, it came out. By the time it arrived to my door, it was already double what I paid for it, like on the market. You know, if you want to do like something like that, that's a modern product. I was saying before, like that's really easy, quick flip money. Like if you wanted to do that, and if you had a lot of capital, you could have just bought a lot of that and just doubled your money, like just there and then. I'm gonna hold mine for a while. I try not to tell people, you know, you should do this or you should do that. I think, you know, my opinion is just, you know, you got to do what you think is best. But I think it will. Most Pokemon products like this, if you keep it sealed, they do rise in value. If you bought it for retail price, they rarely ever drop below that. I think that product is popular. You know, people want that, and yeah, I think it will grow in value. But how much? It's hard to say. You know, it's really hard to say. There was a product released similar to this last year, and that grew 5 to 6 times its amount in 1 year. So, you know, it's a $600 box right now. It's called Hidden Fates, and they, you know, sold out really quick. This sold out really quick, very similar. But yeah, like I said, if you wanted to flip that, that's an easy flip. But if you want to hold it for ages, who knows the potential? I can see it going to $600 in the next year or two, but for forever, I don't know. Yeah, the kids these days, if they're opening up this product right now, and they remember it from their childhood and they want to chase that back in 20, 30 years time, then yeah, if you still have one at that time, then it could be quite valuable. Yeah,
absolutely. Aside from WTC vintage cards, what is your favorite set?
Aside from that, I don't really have one, to be honest. I do like the Sun and Moon era, which was last year. I think it's better than Sword and Shield, but Sword and Shield is not finished yet, so they got plenty planned for that. But yeah, for Wizards of the Coast, WotC, you know, I was always a big fan of the Neo Genesis, the Neo series and stuff, because that's the video games that I played, Pokemon Silver, Pokemon Crystal and Gold and stuff. So yeah, it sounds like your people know what they're talking about.
Yeah, I know there is people within the community that do get into this stuff. It's probably within our community, it's not spoken about on YouTube as such. Well, that I'm aware of anyway. I haven't seen it within our small Australian community anyway. So yeah, I thought I'd get you on and pick your brain, because I know there's a lot of people itching for the information, and it's good to have an Aussie on here talking the cards, and someone that knows what they're doing. So there's
a lot of Americans, and you know, investing's just got really big with Pokemon recently. Oh, what's on your wish list to find? My wish list, or
yeah, I'd say that'd be direct to you. So what Rebecca's asking, what is on your wish list to find?
Well, I have found a few things on my wish list. There are certain Pokemon that I like, Lugia from Neo Genesis, but they are way above my pay grade, so won't be buying them anytime soon. Yeah, unfortunately, but it is what it is. A lot of the prices have skyrocketed, and a lot of small collectors like myself, or you know, just like anybody else, might not be able to pay for that. But what can you do? Move on.
Scotty's saying there should be a great card set in Feb coming out.
There is. Yeah, there is. It's called Sword and Shield 4.5, and some of the cards have leaked for that already. Some places in the UK have already sold out pre-orders, and I guess, you know, another, you know, tip for flippers, or you know, people who want to make the quick buy and sell kind of thing. Sets like that, if you can get in early and you can pre-order now before they sell out, then like it'll be a very similar situation to this box here, where I bought this, and then by the time it arrived to my house, it already doubled in value. And I think it will have the same effect on this new set, because it's meant to be bigger and better than that and the previous one before that. A lot of predictions and a lot of cards have been released, so if you wanted to get into that whole flipping stuff, I suggest, just staying on top of what's coming out and what's all the hype about, because that's what people are going to buy. Anything that's collectible, that's usually what sells.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I'll be buying a few boxes of those, and definitely open one just for a bit of fun. We might even try and get you back, and we might even do a box opening, and we'll get a couple of people from the community and see who can get the best cards one night, because that'd be a bit of fun. Strath asked, I find a few Pokemon cards. What tips to figure out if they're real or they're fake?
Ooh. Yeah, so I just actually dropped a video on this recently. There is a lot of fake cards coming out and a lot of scams. Even some of the best people, like you said, PokeRev, he just lost out on $10,000.
Cool. Don't know if I've dropped out or you've dropped out there.
I'm not sure if it's me or you.
Yeah, was I one of us froze out there? So the chat will soon tell us who dropped out then, because I quite often go a bit robotic. We're all good now, I think.
You're not moving. Can you see me moving and talking?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but your face is like statue.
I'm frozen. No, that's all right. As long as you can hear me, that's all good.
Something about fake cards.
Yeah.
If you have a real card and you have and you're worried about another card is fake, I suggest just putting them together and seeing the difference between the two. But a lot of the time you can see if it's obvious. I mean, the ultimate test is to actually rip the fake card in half, but then that technically defeats the purpose, because you just destroyed a card and it might not be a fake. But sometimes you put it up to the light and you can see through. And sometimes the border of the card is just way off the font on the writing of the cards. I always like to get another card and try to compare and see. And, the comparison's got to be realistic. Or I always ask a second opinion if I'm ever not too sure. Because even some of the best, like I said, the PokeRev, he's got a huge channel. He's got 100,000 subs. And he just spent $10,000 on a box, and they're all fake. So
yeah, that's a killer.
Yeah.
Look, Mum, Drew and Sarah in the house. Sorry, I'm late. Always keen to hear some Pokemon. Yeah, Drew does do a bit of basketball stuff, so he likes his cards. Do you buy any Black Star promo stuff or Japanese variants?
Yeah, I've got a whole binder with Black Star promo English stuff. I'm not really a Japanese collector, but the Japanese promos, they're more exclusive than the English ones, and they tend to do really well in price if you get in early. Once again, Japanese stuff, their print runs are a lot smaller, and they don't really tend to reprint. So the whole reprinting of things and the supply can really affect prices. So if you want to get into Japanese stuff, there's some great Japanese promos that you can get that really do rise in value and hold their value, because you can't get them again. There's like a Christmas Day Pikachu and an Easter Pikachu that only came out one Easter in like 2 years ago. And the price is just, once they print like 100 copies, for example, they don't print any more than that. And then, that's just where it just drops. Japanese price. Look, I'm not a huge fan of Japanese stuff, but I face the fact that Japanese cards can look better than English, and also they hold value stronger sometimes. But English cards are easier to sell if you're planning to resell and stuff. There, so many people collect English more than Japanese. So,
yeah, absolutely. The Aussie VHS Thrifters in the house. Robbie Hollywood, good to see you in, mate. Merity, hi, how are ya? Good to see you in, Merity. Hidden Fates, so good, great set, very low production run over here.
Yeah, in Australia, like we're actually far from everyone else, so our supply is a lot lower than when you go overseas. So in a way, that's kind of good. Hidden Fates is meant to be the best modern set of all time, until the set that comes out in February is meant to be better than that. It's predicted to be better than that. And that was the box I was talking about that grew in value very quick. And nobody has. So, well, some people do, but they like to hold as well. There's a lot of people that like to hold this game. So,
yeah. They're all saying it was you that dropped out, mate. So
sorry.
That's all right. Mate, I'm actually kind of relieved because normally it's me. Some of the guys I stream with occasionally will tell us that. You're both upside down on my screen. Toby's probably had a few droppies. He's probably been on the beers tonight. That's why we're upside down. Keen to hear your thoughts, experience with grading cards, which is actually something that I was going to move into next. Maybe some tips for people that find great raw cards that could do mental with a good grade.
Yeah. So with grading cards, there's two main reasons that you would grade a card. One is to actually just keep it safe, or like maybe it's your favorite card and you just want to have it forever, so you want to just encapsulate it. The other point where everyone is pretty much doing it is for the whole resale value and the value of the card overall. The difference between a raw card and a graded card can be so dramatic. So you could have a raw card that's worth $10, and then once you grade it, it could be worth $100. Granted, if it gets a good 10, a good grade. So I use a middleman for my grading. So I send all my cards to a person and then he sends it off to get graded. And I find that the easiest way to do it. If you want to grade your own cards, you got to go through quite a process. You got to actually have an account with the two companies. There's PSA, there's Beckett. Those are the two reputable ones. There's other companies out there, but they're a lot smaller and still upcoming. So PSA and Beckett are definitely the top runners. Beckett does mainly sports as well, and so does PSA. It's really all about condition, and that's what sets price these days. So that I think the whole grading is good. The system, what they got. So the higher the grade, obviously, the better condition, and that warrants the price for the card. So, I wouldn't send a card that I think wouldn't get a good grade in, or just by looking at it. I can kind of tell if there's they look at mainly the corners, the surface, how clean it is, the damage. If you look at a Beckett card, it actually has what they look for, and they grade those 4 points. With PSA, it's a little bit less like that. So there's a graded card for you, Dark Blastoise. Not sure if you can see it very well. There's the camera. So that mint 9, if it was a 10, like this card right now is worth about 2,500 to 3,000. But if it was a 10, it's probably worth more like 5,000 or 6,000. So even with the grade drops between 10s and 9s, you can see like there's a huge difference in price for that. With grading, a lot of people grade the vintage stuff because they're the ones that are rare and scarce, and they tend to be the most valuable. But then you might get a really good card from a box like this. It's really all chance. If I open up this box right now and I pull a really good chaseable Charizard and I grade it, it could be just $1,000 card or $2,000 card. So I think grading's fun. Grading's good. It's going to cost you a little bit. There's different levels of service for grading. So if you're getting like the lower end of the service, you might pay like $25 per card to send in to get graded. If you're new to grading, there's so many people that do help with it. I actually had a video on my channel that I interviewed my middleman, the guy that I send my cards to, and I asked him all the questions. I don't know if that helps. If anyone wants to check that out, that's fine too. But he's really helpful. He's knowledgeable. I think when you go to people that you can trust and you know what they're talking about, so they can really help you out. And Pokemon, the community is just like very similar to this, how everyone's like, very close, and they talk a lot and they share ideas, they share stuff. So, on the Facebook groups, you see, people posting up a picture of their card and say, hey, what do you think this would get as a grade if I send it in? Because, obviously a low grade, if they're planning to resell, it just kind of defeats the purpose. So everyone's chasing those 10s and the 9s as a grade goal. So
yeah. So for you as more so a collector, but us as flippers, if we were to look into making money on these cards, would you recommend we look for raw cards and got them graded, or just buy the graded cards already ready to go?
There's a lot of money you can make by finding raw cards and getting them graded, but you got to find the only problem with that, or the harder thing with that, is to know your conditions and know like how good of that raw card is, you know. And some people would say this is really good condition, and it's not really huge potential with that. But if you open up your packs, or you buy your own products and you open up the packs and then you look at them and you want to get it graded, that's another option. But with pack opening, it's all chance and all luck. So you don't know if you're going to get something good or not. If you don't get anything good, then it's like this box here. I keep showing it, but I paid $100 for it. It's about $200 now. If the cards in here are worth less than $200, then it's like I lose money on it in a way. But if you're buying cards that are graded, like the card that I just showed you, I bought that already graded, and that was like last year, $130. And like I said, I hold stuff. I don't really sell it, but that card now is worth $2,500 to $3,000. So I only paid $130 for it last year. So, but the thing is, if you're buying these cards now at this, like if you're buying that specific card now at that price, you might wait a little while longer for it to grow. Because like we said, with the caps, like with the prices, I don't think they're going to drop. I don't think the price of that will drop, but I don't know how much further it's going to go. You know, it's probably going to hold still for a little while. Because it's gone crazy.
So when you do get them graded, you just send a whole heap together. It's just usually
postage wise, I would do that. But I wouldn't just send any card. Like I would strategically look at each card and make sure that I think this will get a 10 or I think this will get a 9. Even some of my best cards, I'd be like, I'm not even going to send that because I don't think it will get a good grade. You know, even if there's a slight damage, it could affect the grade. But yeah, there's so much money you can make by grading your own cards, and plenty of people do videos on that as well. Considering, you know, if I bought this card raw, that specific card, I might have paid $80, and then I have to send it overseas to get graded. And I guess that's another issue with Australia, you know, because the grading companies are all in America, most of them. So there's all that. What if you lose it, or insurance and all that stuff? That's why I send it to a middleman, and a lot of people do so in Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I sort of asked because me being not educated and experienced like yourself, but looking into the market, I've looked at options, and I've actually been picking up the old yellow cheek Pikachus. I've been sniping them kind of. So I've got a strategy with cards, any collectibles, anything like that. And what I do, I get on late at night and just look for the auctions that are ending soon, maybe misspelled, poorly listed. I'm sure you do the same thing. And I snipe the auctions. So this is a card that I've been focusing on just because of the popularity of him. And it's not so much a huge investment as a beginner and as a rookie. And I've been doing that because when I send over the NBA cards, I'm going to send these plus a few others over as well. So that's sort of why I asked the question, because I've noticed that card I've been able to pick up fairly cheap. And the graded ones that are getting the 9s, 8, 9s, and 10s are 3 times the amount. So, and for the sake of what it'll cost to send it over, it just seems like a good investment. So that's
it is, smart move, man. That's good. How are the cards looking? Like they're good condition? Like
some are okay. I'm up to about 10 now, and there's a couple that, like you mentioned, and I probably would have sent them anyway. But after you've mentioned, you know, with a little bit of damage and stuff, look, I won't. Some of them I might not send now, and I'll just keep loading up and maybe send them in the new year. But there's a lot of people in the chat saying that they're interested in the grading and stuff. And you mentioned there you did speak to your middleman because. Well, Drew said he uses a guy. It might be the same guy. Zach has dropped your link. So if you are interested, DJ does have a video on it. Toby did as well, and he said we need 2 more subs to get to 800. So let's get DJ to 800. Go over and give him a sub. And if you are looking to get into this stuff, make sure to educate yourself. Watch this man's content because, look, we're only going to squeeze in an hour's worth of stuff. This guy has videos and videos and videos. And if you really want to learn this stuff, there's so much money to invest in here. There's so much money to be made. And he breaks it down and he's going to tell you how to do it. So I really strongly suggest if you do want to get into it, here we go. Look, Mum, get him to 800. We'll get you to 800 tonight. I know it. For your card in a group bulk sub every month.
I think he's referring to you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
There's some people that say if you put a lot of cards together, then you could possibly get a better grade because if all the cards get 10, 10, 10, then the graders, because they're people as well, they got eyes as well. So they just be like, oh, that's a 10, that's a 10. So, yeah, I mean, I use a middleman. He sends 1,000 cards over and stuff like that. So it's actually got a card back recently. It's not Pokemon, but it's Dragon Ball Super, another collectible that I'm into, but also is rising up. This one, I'm not sure if you're a Dragon Ball Super fan or a Dragon Ball Z fan. This card's the most expensive card for Dragon Ball Super. It's Awakened Power Goku. Very nice artwork and stuff like that, but I just got it back yesterday. Got a 10, and as a 10, there's 2 on eBay right now for like $7,000.
Wow.
Yeah, right now. But the sold listings are about $4,000. But that card, I only got it for no one here. I don't want to even say the price. Maybe like it didn't cost me much at all. But,
yeah, that's unreal. And I'm glad you actually brought that up with another card because something I wanted to ask, if you do focus on other card markets, and are you seeing any similar trends in markets like the Dragon Ball Z, some that I can think of as like Digimon and stuff like that? Can you see similar trends in those markets starting to look like they could reach the potential or close to the potential of the Pokemon card market? Something for maybe us to look into for the future.
Yeah, I also did another video on that too, because I love them both. I love Dragon Ball Super and Pokemon, and I'm just like, oh, what's the differences between the two? So I made a video on that, but honestly speaking, I don't really, but that's not going to stop me from buying Super or anything like that. I think, a lot of the whole flipping thing and buying and selling is finding cards that are undervalued or, that don't have much value. Like they're really undervalued and then has so much potential. I think there's potential in Super and Digimon. Digimon's coming up really soon and I reckon they'll come up really fast, but I don't see them reaching levels of Pokemon, not for a long time. But I think any market like that, I think people will still want it. People grew up with Super. That's the whole nostalgia thing as well. Very similar. The connections people have with these collectibles. That's why people buy them. But I think Pokemon's just in another league, to be honest. Like they were, and that's not even being biased. Currently, I like Super cards more than Pokemon in a sense, just with what I'm buying. But Pokemon's just too good. Like they got everything covered.
And with the cards, especially the modern ones, and like that Dragon Ball Z one you showed, the artwork on some of them is phenomenal. I've got a few of the more recent ones, and I think the artwork looks way better than the old stuff. Even though you look at the old stuff and you go, "Shit, yeah, that's what I had when I was a kid." But you look at the new stuff, and the artwork's amazing. Does the illustrations on them actually have somewhat of an effect to the value? Or is it still just purely the Pokemon that's on the actual card? I mean, if you got a very basic Pokemon that everyone hates, one that, say, Rattata. Everyone used to hate Rattata, didn't they? If you had a card with him, but it was super fantastic artwork, would the price increase a bit on that?
I don't think so.
So they put in all the hard work and
I know, sorry, I did that. But yeah, look, I think artwork's great. A lot of people chase cards for artwork. I bought cards just for artwork, but there were artwork of characters that I liked and stuff. So, if you're a Rattata fan, or if you liked him, then yeah, of course you're going to buy that because it's good artwork. But I personally wouldn't, and I don't know. I try to think like a collector, and the collectors are the ones buying these things from the flippers and the investors and all that. So understanding it as a collector is just like, well, there's no interest in it, so there's no point buying it. And then if no one's going to buy it, then the price is not going to go up.
Yeah. Drew's saying cherry pick the best 2 dozen cards to send in. If I hit 10 on a couple, it pays for the lot. Just a super long wait time. Yeah. I know there's, well, last I heard it could be like 6 months. What's the wait time roughly at the moment? Do you know?
It is still about 6 months. They are really chockers at PSA and Beckett. And some people are going into other companies like CGC. And they also have a grading company in Australia as well, CGA. But they're nowhere near. Like, I could send cards there. They charge cheaper. They return the cards quicker. But it's harder for me to sell if I was to sell it, because people are like, that's not PSA. That's not Beckett. That's not reputable, The wait time can work to an advantage, I would say, a little bit, because you could send a card in today that's worth $100. By the time it comes back in 6 months' time, it could be worth $500. That's the only upside, but time is money as well. So, I mean, if you're working on other things, it's great as a side hustle. It's just you got something in the oven, cooking, baking. So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
absolutely. Braden's in. Pokemon will never die. Pikachu won't ever do his ACL. But yeah, Braden does do some videos on the soccer investing and soccer cards, which is really interesting because I know nothing about soccer, but I had a watch of his video and it was good. And a bit of an unboxing there.
Just with sports in general, Yu-Gi-Oh coming up too. Yes. With sport, I think you can apply a lot of the same principles. I mean, I'm more into Pokemon and Super, but I do NBA and stuff, so I can kind of see the trends there with the star players that rise in value, or like with Kobe, for example. After he passed away, everything that he had just skyrocketed in price, like his cards, his merchandise, all the shoes and stuff. But with new players, like you said, there's always that risk with tearing the ACL and all that stuff. But I got a friend who has a David Beckham card. He's wanting to sell as well, rookie David Beckham, really expensive. But yeah, maybe I should get in touch with your guy.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Braden, he loves the soccer. So, what I'm going to do now, I'm going to test you out because we're at the 53-minute mark already, and mate, we could talk for hours on this, but we're nearly at the hour already. So I'm actually going to put you to the test. Us as resellers, we love checking comps, which is checking sold prices on eBay to see what things are worth and all that sort of stuff. And I'm actually, normally when I get my reseller guests on, I give them a bit of a quick fire, but I want to put you to the test on eBay and see if you can get the prices that some of these cards have sold for. So I know, now don't get me wrong, I know there's many different cards that have sold, so the prices can vary. So we don't expect a 100% answer, but we'll give it a go. So up first, we got can you see that all right? We got 4 cards there. We got PSA 10, Dragonite, Pikachu, Mewtwo, and Electabuzz. What do you reckon they went for?
I'm going to say 4K, 4,000.
$5 grand. $5 for 4 cards. It blows me away. All right, okay, we were speaking about before, but this one, Pikachu, Shadowless, I can't even say that myself. It's been graded a 9.
These cards change every single day. I'm going to say 7,000.
You're pretty good. $5 grand. It's pretty close. I wouldn't have guessed that. I would have said a couple $100.
Yeah.
But that's the difference between educated and experienced to someone that knows very little.
Even the experienced get it wrong, like you said.
And with this one, when they say shadowless, do you want to explain what that actually means?
So on the border, as you can see where Pikachu's tail is, on an unlimited card, it would have a bit of a shadow there on the side, a black shadow on that border. But this one doesn't have it. And it's also first edition. So the first edition is, there is first edition and there's also just shadowless. So this one's first edition shadowless. And if you take out that number 1 on the side, on the corner of that border, it would just be a shadowless Pikachu, but it's also first edition. So it's more pricier.
Yeah. Handy to know. Right. Now we got a Nido Queen.
Nido King?
Got a 9. Nido King got a 9. I can't even see that now.
Looks like an 8 for me. Base set 2. Yeah. Yeah, I'd say maybe like 250, something like that. 200. Yeah.
It's got an 87. It was a PSA 8. $87.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that much.
There's it's crazy, some of these prices. Right, we got here
CD promo.
Japanese edition.
Yeah. They only made these ones in Japanese, I'm pretty sure. This Venusaur CD promo. No great on authentic. Tough one. I'm going to say 10,000.
10,000. Wowee. What do we got?
Am I wrong? Way off.
Did that come up?
I thought $200.
$200.
Yeah, I got confused with the grade. The authentic. There was no signature on it, so I must be thinking of a different one.
Okay.
I know there is a Venusaur like that, very similar.
Yeah.
My bad. That's way off.
So many different ones, and
yeah,
look at these stuff too. It's
and I'm not a Japanese guy as well, so
2 to go. We've got Dactyl, and it's got a 6.
And it's a holo. I'd say very similar to probably like $50.
And very close, very bloody close. This is just proving this man knows his stuff. We're going to go to the last one here. We've got a sealed pack from 1999 base set. Factory sealed Blastoise. What do you reckon that sold for?
Can I ask, when did this sell?
You can, but I'd have to show you what it sold for when I do it. If I can get in.
If it's recently,
I think 6th to the 11th. 6th of November. So
6th of November. All right. I'm going to guess $1,000.
Pretty bloody close. Pretty bloody close. And that just goes to show, if you are looking to get into this game and you want to start investing in Pokemon cards or flipping Pokemon cards, make sure you follow this man and just take in the knowledge. Do your own research too. Get on, check out sold comps and see what the market's doing. Is that something that you do consistently as an investor, as a collector? Do you have to consistently look at eBay markets?
You do. A lot of people price their stuff on sold listings. So if I look at someone trying to sell something, I'll compare that to a sold listing and be like, that's nowhere near that or very similar. And that's kind of where you benchmark the stuff with Pokemon or with collectibles. They do have other sites, but a lot of people use sold listings and American Troll and Toad and TCG Player. There's so many sites, but eBay is very, very common to benchmark your price against someone else's.
Yeah. So out of all the cards there are around the world, it doesn't have to be the ones you own, but what are your top 5 favorite cards in the Pokemon world?
That I don't own. Well, I'm going to say, are we talking value and stuff or?
No, your favorite, just your favorite cards. 5 favorite cards, whether it be value, whether it be artwork. What are the top 5 that DJ loves? All
right, that I like. Okay. I'm going to say a Neo Genesis Lugia. Really tough. This is actually a harder question than everything else you've asked. I'd probably say the Pikachu Illustrator card, simply because that's the most expensive card in the world, and I would just sell that, and then I'd buy everything. So yeah, I'd get that. I'll get a Charizard first edition of some sort. It's not my favorite card, but same value thing and money wise. I'd go a Primeape, just because Primeape's my favorite Pokemon. Any Primeape card is fine. Tentacruel is also one of my favorite Pokemon. I like Tentacruel for some reason from the show TV. Yeah. How many cards is that? 4?
What have we got? Yeah, 4. Give us one more.
One more. I don't know. I'm gonna say a Blastoise. Any Blastoise. Give me any Blastoise. That's fine.
Beautiful. I love it. I think there's a bit going on in the chat here. Zach's asking, a base set Pokemon cards worth grading from the 90s?
Yes. If they're in good condition. Even some cards that you, like that card that you just showed before, had a grade of 6 and it sold for $48. It costs $20 to grade that card. So he's making a profit of $25, $28. But if you got a lot of them, $20. Yeah. So it's worth it. Yeah, it is worth it.
Absolutely. Hold everything.
Hold everything. Yeah.
Hold everything. That's the investor.
That's my mentality. You got to hold it. You can make a lot of money. Yeah.
We're at the hour. So what I want to know for people that are getting into the game, but more so to think back on your life as doing this, if you could go back and tell your past self how to do this, what's the one bit of advice you'd tell yourself?
If I have the money, just buy it. There's so many things I didn't buy because I had the money, but I'm like, nah, I'll buy that later. And missed out. Can't buy this stuff anymore. They're too expensive.
Yeah, that's the tricky part. And one last question, just for anyone that is looking for a safe option, because a lot of us, without the experience and the knowledge, and I mean, you've obviously got to educate yourself before you start doing something like this. You need very good knowledge, and it's the same if you're trying to do NBA, you're trying to do AFL, you're trying to do soccer cards. There's no point in trying to do it without knowing the game, without knowing the players, without knowing the market. If you're sort of trying to get in there in the sort of cheaper side of things and you want to start to experience it a bit and get the feel for it, what would you recommend kind of trying to purchase? Under the $50 mark where you can maybe make yourself a $20 to $50 profit, what's the best angle that you'd attack it at for anyone that's new?
So $50 is the budget. Is that what you're saying?
Well, just roughly, just cheap. So, because I know a lot of the investors like yourself, you're quite happy to buy a $200 card when you know in 6 months you're going to get $400 for it. So some people without experience and knowledge probably don't want to spend that sort of money there. Might even struggle to spend $20 on a card because they don't actually know what's going to happen. So they want to spend as minimal as they can just to see what they can do. They just want to get involved and they want to have a bit of a feel and start as they're building their knowledge. What's the best sort of angle you'd go at and what sort of card?
The easiest thing to invest in right now would be anything modern and sealed. So and keep it sealed, like don't open it in that sense. So and they tend to rise value fairly well, a little bit low risk, but the ones that are on trend are about the booster boxes, and they're like $150. So if you don't have that much, what I would do personally, I would probably just save up every week until I can get something like that. If you're buying, something like $20 or $50, chances are you're buying more of a collection piece than an investment or a resale kind of piece. So, I mean, you could buy a $5 pack, that's fine, but there's all chance, if you might not get anything out of that $5 pack in regards to card values, or you could pull like the best card in the set, and that's $1,000 card. So opening the packs, there's a lot of people that argue keep it sealed or open it. So for a person on a budget, for the latest set, Vivid Voltage, there is a box. It's a $40 box. That's probably the best investment you can make, even better than some of the other pricier stuff in that set, simply because there's a card in there. There's a chance that is very valuable. So something like that is a good idea to invest in. It's $40. That's probably the cheapest thing I could really think of. I mean, if you put it back to back in the 90s, if you bought one of those packs that you just showed, that was like $5 back in the day, $3 back in the day. It's nearly $1,000 now. I guess you could just buy 1 or 2 packs like that in this day and age and hold on to it and wait. A lot of people don't think the same effect's going to happen for that pack compared to the other pack, because everyone's buying, everyone's investing. Back in the day, no one was investing. So the supply for that is really low, that other pack that you just showed. And the packs now, chances are in 20 years time, there's going to be a lot of people that still have this stuff. So it's not going to be the same. But yeah, that's what I would suggest. Something sealed, keep it sealed. It's cheap. Yeah. If you get educated, like you said, follow people. They usually tell you what to get. You can cheat.
So we've cracked well over the hour. Look, there's so much more I wanted to ask, but there's just not enough time for it. And I like to keep these at the hour. So what I'm going to encourage everybody to do, and anyone that's watching this stream back when you've come along, DJ's channel is in the description. If you want to get into investing, flipping, collecting Pokemon cards, there's a lot of money there, and we all love making money. So make sure you get over, give him some love, hit that sub button, and give him a follow, because this man knows what he's talking about, and he proved that when we did the sold comps. So if you want to get into it, seriously, this is only an hour chat with a bit of Q&A, but he does regular Q&As, regular giveaways. I think nearly every milestone you've hit, you've gave away something, which is amazing. So if you're over there, you can actually get some of these cards for nothing. Just go over to his channel. Great. And my boy Zach, he has dropped your channel there. So look, mate, it's been a pleasure. I've got one last question, and this is something I ask every guest. And anyone that knows me knows I love a good brown lemonade. And what I mean by that is a very best VB. Do you like VB?
No.
Oh, come on.
I'm not a drinker. I just don't drink.
That is the Charizard of the alcohol world, I'm telling you. And that puts, out of all my guests, that puts it at 2-3. 3 people that don't like VB. So that's yeah, but that's all good, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you agreeing to come on and have a chat with me. And I know everyone watching along will really appreciate the knowledge too. So get over, follow this man, educate yourself, and learn how to invest in these cards, because it's a great market, something that I'm still playing with, and I'm going to keep watching your videos. So thanks very much, DJ. Really appreciate it, mate.
Thank you. No worries.